How come nobody's talking about Spurs being title contenders, though?
I think it's just Man City and Liverpool are they're so good this season.
Right.
I mean, they hadn't lost for a long time. Spurs had obviously lost Arsenal, Chelsea. So it was... Liverpool this year, they were Tottenham last season, but they didn't really have, like we talk about the defence, Van Dijk, he's brought them together, and now they're a lot more solid, and it's no surprise they're winning the league. I just think, I think Tottenham are a great side, but I think maybe against Man City and Liverpool this season, it's still a bridge too far for them.
They're almost never sort of mentioned in the same breath, are they? Spurs, Liverpool, Man City. It's always Liverpool, Man City. Is Spurs' sort of lack of squad depth the difference between who they are, where they are, and who they are versus Liverpool and Man City, you think?
Well, I think Tottenham's squad is standing up to the test, really. Didn't do bad tonight, did they? And they're missing 6 or 7 injuries. Dele Alli's out now, hopefully not for too long. Sissoko as well came off. So that is a concern. But I think Tottenham probably, because they've challenged up to a point, haven't they? But they've never gone the final furlong. And I think people are almost assuming that that's going to be the case again this season. But it's actually their best start to the Premier League. Or it was past the start now and literally nearly halfway through. So it's pretty impressive stuff. The fact they're only 2 points behind Manchester City, you know, that tells you all you need to know. It's just that Liverpool are supreme at the moment. That they will lose a game. Not too many, I imagine, but, you know, they're going to have a little sticky period. Every team does, and Tottenham have just got to hang in there as best they can, because I don't think you can discount them, even from the title, even though they would be outsiders at the moment.
If Pochettino was given the freedom to spend a little bit more during the transfer window, do you think then that would, you know, put them up there with Liverpool and Man City?
That's the ridiculous thing. I mean,
I mean, because I
net
remember
spend of
29 million?
I didn't want to pinch one of your
statistics. One of those things.
You told me, so I can't take the credit for that. But that's incredible. 4 years.
Net spend,
unheard
29 million.
Unheard of in any era, really, but especially the inflated prices of today. The quality of performance that they produce pretty much every week. Dave knows more than me. He's a regular attender. He supports Tottenham Hotspur. But, you know, they are very attractive on the eye as well. They just need to go that step further. But as you say, if they are able to increase expenditure, which probably will happen once they get settled in the stadium, if not next season, maybe the season after, there will be more revenue at the manager's disposal, whether that's Pochettino or not, is another matter. But then I think they will be ready to go and challenge regularly at the elite end.
So you don't think it's going to happen in January, where they're going to spend a little bit more, just to sort of give them the edge?
They've still got the ongoing issue of the ground, haven't they, the stadium?
I can't see where they're going to get a player from in January who's going to improve what they've got. There was an interesting thing, we were totting up the numbers during the game, and you have Tosun, who was on the bench for Everton, didn't even start. Him, Gylfi Sigurdsson, and Richarlison cost the same amount of money as all of Tottenham's front four, who all scored, plus Lucas Moura and Lamela, who came on. So that is how clever Spurs have been with their business. You know, those players are hard to find. You know, when you're picking up Dele Alli for £5 million, and Everton are having to spend £50 million to bring a player in, it's night and day. And then it's getting them to perform as a team, and that's why Pochettino is so highly regarded.
Where do you want to improve that team?
I know.
The squad, possibly, but that front four, who goes in instead of them? You know, with the format that they've got, the setup they've got.
But when you talk about midfield, or even just like the role of Harry Kane's the only one that can do a Harry Kane. I mean, if you look at, Moura prefers to be behind. If you don't have Son, that he's not going to be available in January. Could that also then be a big miss? So
no, you're right to say that. Llorente, isn't it? You know, he's not the same type of player. And that's a problem that a lot of Premier League managers have now, especially because Tottenham not always, but predominantly play with the lone striker with bodies around, and it's difficult to get an elite, top-class centre-forward who's willing to play a secondary role and feature 1 in 4 games from the start, if that. So you have to have the player of Son's ilk who can play multiple roles. But players like him are few and far between.
Is it a question then that, the manager can only take the club so far? And, playing devil's advocate again, if Pochettino was to go to a club with Man United, the silverware would start coming in because he's finished top 3 for 3 seasons in a row at Spurs. Is that only as far as he can take the club?
Well, they don't have to worry about paying for a stadium at United at the moment. They've got an all singing, all dancing stadium. They've got the makings of a pretty good team. If they're going to pay to bring Pochettino in, they will give him money. There's no doubt about that. They'll give him all the money he needs. Spurs have got to pay £800 million for this stadium, and at the moment, no one really seems to know where that money's going to come from. You're not going to find one sponsor who's going to pay all £800 million. And the nightmare scenario is you lose Pochettino, but you also have to sell Harry Kane to pay for that stadium. So there's some issues coming up on the horizon for Spurs.
There's a lot of money discussion so far. But of course, when you talk about Mauricio Pochettino, who's been in the news lately for the job of Manchester United, for the job of Real Madrid, where clearly, like you said, they will have the money if he wants to spend. If Daniel Levy doesn't provide the budget, be it in January or in the coming summer transfer window, is that then a push for Pochettino? Wouldn't he want to spend just to keep one of the best managers back in Tottenham Hotspur?
I think without Pochettino, there is a real danger that it kind of falls apart a little bit. I really believe that, because those players love playing for him. And it's a real risk to bring in a manager and then have somebody else's squad all liking that manager. I've never seen that. Just doesn't happen. You always have a couple of people who suddenly sit on the bench and don't play and don't get a chance. So at the moment, they've got what everybody in the Premier League wants, which is a squad who all love the manager and a manager who, on the face of it, appears happy to be there.
Yeah, and then you have the problem if a new manager comes in, the players already there are more likely to look elsewhere as well. And people are saying that the wages, although they're incredibly good, they're not in comparison to Manchester City, Liverpool even. So those players, while they'll buy into the project at the moment, and it's still something they're all doing together. If Pochettino was to go, as you say, it could, to a certain degree at least, unravel. 1 or 2 players, you think automatically, I think Kane and Ali might depart elsewhere.
Eriksen hasn't signed a new contract as well. I think it's ending end of the season.
Yeah. Alderweireld hasn't signed.
Well, that's a worry.
Yeah.
Alderweireld, that's a strange situation there, because he seems to receive sort of harsh treatment sometimes from Pochettino. I don't know if that's a personal thing or what, the personality clash, but for me, he's their standout defender. Every now and then,
it's because he won't sign the contract.
Yeah, I suppose they're trying to test him, but if that was happening to me and a lot of players, you're leaving me out. Well, okay, that's not enticing me to stay.
Well, no, exactly.
Edging me out, and I think that would be a big mistake. Alderweireld's a quality operator.